exhale. The Queen's in bed right now, resting. I just want to talk briefly about the social worker. I finished his commentary earlier. This is almost a week old, this commentary. WMUR TV is the source. I felt his commentary was very bland, very, I don't know, it just took forever for them to get to the point. The district attorney trying to talk to him, he always had to check his notes. I felt like you didn't deal with these people a lot. So what is there to remember? I mean, to forget rather, excuse me. I don't understand that. He had to look at his notes, look at his notes. Why not just keep the notes out, sitting right on top of the ledge where you're, in front of you to testify? All this is just bizarre to me. And I just felt like he was aloof in this information about this child. And I'm curious to why it took 6 months to contact Adam again. It's very weird to me. Sorry I'm in the dark, but I do my best thinking in the dark, and then had the lights off. So it's just strange to me, very strange to me. I don't understand any of this. This man's testimony. The comments are off on this video pertaining to his testimony, the TV network that uploaded it. I just think I'm all over the place myself because it took forever for him to talk. It took forever for them to get answers. They had to keep asking the same thing over. Then he would reply, what's the question? What's the question? It's almost like he didn't want to be there. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought he was on drugs. I thought, is everybody in the storyline on drugs? Because the Q&A between he and the district attorney was off to me. He seemed off to me. And I'm trying to understand how you go talk to these people in July. You try to meet up with the father again. You finally meet with him a week later. You see the child. So was the case still open? Not open? What? What made him go back trying to find these people in January? That wasn't even really discussed in what I've seen in the commentary of the court proceeding. I just thought it was strange that the district attorney didn't say, why did you go back 6 months later to contact Adam Montgomery? He never asked that. The defense gets up all of 2 seconds. She don't ask that. Let's roll with it. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Thank you all so much. Let's get down to business right quick. This is a quick live, everybody.
Can you start by providing?
Hey, Random.
By stating and spelling your full name?
Don't pay me any mind, honey. I'm in the bed. I had to, honey. Queen had to get a little rest, baby. I'm looking rough, but anyhow. Thank you all so much.
And Mr. Soros, I'm just going to ask that you speak as loud as you can.
Yeah, thank you. Cool.
And he's a former worker.
I live in Concord, New Hampshire.
Okay, so before I let him finish, I also think it's interesting that the title of the video says, Adam Montgomery murder trial video. Former DCYF worker testifies. Former. Why is he former? I find that very strange. What happened? Why is he former? And why he couldn't remember this case? It seemed like to me verbatim he would memorize it. One, because there wasn't a lot of information to remember. He didn't have a lot of visits with the family, the children. So what is there that you got to try to keep checking your notes? I found that strange. Did he not read his notes before going to trial? You know you've been subpoenaed to court. When you go open your case file and start going over what you said, what they said, talking with your supervisor about the information. Did he consult with his supervisor before coming to court? And why is this exchange between him and the district attorney so off to me? And why the hell he ain't a worker no more? I want to know that. All right, let's get down to it.
Apologies, we just moved.
Sorry about
How
that.
long have you been a New Hampshire resident?
All my life.
And what do you currently do for a living?
I am a career level letter carrier for the Postal Service.
So now he works for the post office.
And how long have
He
you
went from a
worked?
social worker to a post office worker.
Since September of 2021.
Sorry. Can't find my remote. Sorry. Hello, everybody. It's a brief live.
I was employed as a CPSW, a Child Protective Service Worker with the state of New Hampshire for DCYF.
And that acronym that you just gave, CPSW, can you tell the jurors what that means?
Yes, Child Protective Service Worker.
Let me go back so he tells what he's doing. Hold on.
Employed.
I was employed as a CPSW, a Child Protective Service Worker with the state of New Hampshire for DCYF.
And that acronym that you just gave, CPSW.
He didn't say how long he worked for them.
What that means?
Yes, Child Protective Service Worker.
How long did you work for DCYF?
Approximately 10 years.
Okay, he did say 10 years. I'm sorry.
And in your capacity as a caseworker for DCYF,
I guess.
did you have occasion to
Well, what are they paying the postal workers there?
Montgomery,
I did.
calling your attention specifically to 2019.
Is he making more money?
2019. Did you receive a report regarding Adam Montgomery?
I did.
Are you aware of whether or not he had children?
Not when I first received the report.
Was the report regarding one of his children?
Yes.
Which child was that?
Specifically, it was Harmony.
Harmony Montgomery.
I'm sorry, Harmony Montgomery.
And was that report regarding an injury to Harmony Montgomery?
Yes.
Do you know who made that initial report?
I do not. It was anonymous.
It's the queen. I got a slight headache, so I had to rest. I really shouldn't have done a live today. I was tired, but I want to get this information out.
When that report was made?
It was July of 2019, towards the end of the month. Specifically, it was either the 19th or the 29th.
Would looking at your report refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Here we go. I kept squinting my eyes. 3 minutes in to them talking, and he's got to check his notes just to check the damn date of the case file. It's crazy.
2082.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, July 29th, 2019.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, so can you just turn that over?
And sir, I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up so that all the jurors can hear you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And can you tell us that date again? I missed it.
July 29th, 2019.
Take the polls on my community page.
And what did you do after your involvement on that call began?
I apologize. Could you be more specific?
So you got a report. What did you do after you received that report?
When I received the report, I initiated trying to make contact with the family in order to see the family, see the children, ascertain safety.
And is that generally what you do, or is that what you did in this specific case?
Generally, that was the standard practice.
In this specific case, though, what did you do?
Specifically, tried to initiate contact. I ended up going out to the listed address in an effort to see the family.
And do you recall what that address was?
I believe it was 77 Guilford Street or Guilford Ave.
Tell us about that trip out to the 77 Guilford Street or Ave.
Looks that way.
So I drove to the location, and as I pulled up the location, I noticed a person who I recognized as Adam Montgomery getting into a car.
And let me stop you there.
Yes.
Yes?
This exchange is strange too. Why didn't he go over to the car? Say something. I don't know. This is very bizarre to me. Brief intermission. This case is so weird but it's also typical of what we've seen in other cases, such as with the West case, the blatant utter disregard for the children by the bio mother and so on. So to me, this case is no different. It's just all these people saying they told, called, whatever, but yet the child ended up being carried around in luggage and a tote bag. Go figure.
Mr. Soros, I'm going to give you what's been admitted and previously published. It's State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize?
Yes, I'm in bed. For those curious.
Montgomery.
So when you said that you recognized the individual getting into a car, I believe,
Yes,
that was this Adam Montgomery?
it was.
Was anyone else present with him as he was getting into that vehicle?
There was a young girl, small girl.
That interaction, your observation of the defendant Adam Montgomery and the small girl who was with him, how long was that?
Not very long. And basically, as I was pulling up and getting ready to park, they were getting into the vehicle, and I can't remember exactly how far away I was, 30, 40 feet or so, when I was parking my car, and I observed them getting into the vehicle.
So you're parking your vehicle. Were you outside of your vehicle when you saw him, or were you still inside?
I was still inside my vehicle.
Well, why not pull up to block them? How about that?
That you saw with the defendant.
Hello, you're not out of your car. So why not just pull up, block the car? You don't have to act gangster, but just block the car and say, hey, get out your car and say, hey, excuse me, can you roll your window down? Or if it's summertime, if the window was down, I don't know if his window was up or whatever, why not approach the car and say, hey, I need to speak to you. I'm a, social worker, such and such, and then go from there. It's very strange.
What was she doing?
It's crazy.
Nothing really in particular, just, getting into the vehicle, her father helping her into the vehicle, excuse me. I didn't know if it was her father at the time. The person, Adam.
Happy Valentine's Day. I forgot earlier when they were wishing me happy Valentine's Day. I forgot it's Valentine's Day.
To that
That's bad, ain't it?
That you saw. How long?
No Valentine, so I guess I wouldn't have to focus on having a Valentine and remember it's Valentine's Day. That's so pitiful.
Maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Not a long period of time.
And this was from 30 to 40 feet away?
Correct.
I want to back up for just a moment.
Well, let's go there. If you're 30, 40 feet away, you wouldn't be able to see the child. Guess I should get a little light on in here. Hold on, you guys. So people can see me. So people will be like, what? She's in the dark? Lord have mercy. Well, let's see. Okay, so let's go there. I'm looking gray. Okay, so 30, 40 feet. You probably can't see that the child has a shiner. She's been hit in the eye or any other abnormalities pertaining to the child. So therefore, what was the point to all this? I'm just curious. That this is very strange to me. Sorry. I was trying to relax, but I wanted to get this information out too.
Child that you were going to see was a female, is that right?
Yes.
He had a duty to protect and check on harmony. He failed. Okay.
How long? Sorry, let me strike that. Were you able to clearly see the child when you were in your car
I
there?
had to plug this phone and make sure so it wouldn't go dead.
As clearly as I could from that distance.
He saw as clearly as he could
Did you
from the
observe anything
distance.
about the child that
where he
other
was.
than her gender?
No, just It literally just looked like a small child, a female, getting into a car with someone.
How long were they parked there for before they drove away?
Not long.
Something to rest
She
the
got
phone
into
on.
the car. He then got into the car, and they drove away.
And they drove away. So you hear he says they drove away. Why not try to stop the vehicle? You're in your car. When you could just easily pull up, block the car, get out, announce yourself, your presence, and see if he would engage either through the car window, window down, window up. See, we don't know. This is strange to me. This whole behavior is strange to me.
And you said the distance already, but was this on a public road or were they in a driveway or something else?
Public road. They were parked on the side of the road in front of them.
Recapping anybody coming in. He's made it to the house so he could talk to Mr. Montgomery about the allegations of abuse against the child. This is July of 2019. He's 30 or 40 feet away, still inside of his car, never made it outside of his car. I said it wouldn't have made sense to pull up, so that way by the time you get out, lock the door, walk, he could already been pulled out and drove off. Why not just go pull your car up close to where you could block him in, or just enough where he couldn't maneuver and at least look out and be like, who's this? He would be curious. You walk up and announce yourself, and then you two engage in a conversation. Why didn't he do that? I find that strange. I find that very strange.
The house that I was going to.
During that home visit, did you interact with a child named Harmony?
What's it about, Big Mama?
No,
Why not?
aside from seeing her at that home visit, because she had left. She was the little girl that got into the car.
Is that something that you learned that day or at a later time?
That day.
So he learns later that day that was Harmony getting in the car with the father, Adam.
While you were at the home attempting to make contact with Harmony, was there anything that drew your attention away as you were approaching the home?
Anything that drew my attention away?
Yes.
Nothing in particular.
Now listen to that carefully. District Attorney is asking him, did you notice anything that drew your attention? He's basically leading him into the information that he already knows, the state's attorney, which I find this engaging very strange to me. The state's attorney already knows, allegedly, this scenario of July 2019. What I find interesting is that this worker acts like he don't remember nothing from that day, and this state attorney has had to lead him into what he's getting ready to finally admit to seeing in the yard. This is bizarre to me.
Recall.
Happy Valentine's Day, honey.
Recall noting that there was a loud dog that was barking at you.
Yes, there was a loud dog, a large dog barking at me.
So now he's admitting or agreeing with what the attorney says about the dog. But he just asked you originally, was there anything in the yard that drew your attention? He says no, until the district attorney now mentions about a dog. Now he says, oh yeah, there was a dog there barking. See, this is ridiculous to me. It's as if he's oblivious to this case. And it leads me to believe he's not really engaged in the information, okay? So you didn't really have a lot of interaction with the girl, child, Harmony, and the father. And anybody else, it seems, because you went to the house this time, 30, 40 feet away, didn't make contact, didn't stop him, didn't block him in. Then you called him later that day to tell him, when can we meet up? He's going to explain that situation. And then 6 months later, we go into January. So I want to know, why did he contact him in January? This has been bothering me since I did the last live earlier today. Why did you wait 6 months to contact him? And I'm kind of irritated that this was not discussed during this trial, which is what, 5 days ago. Why didn't the district attorney say, what led you to call Adam 6 months later? The defense attorney for Adam, why didn't you ask the same thing? Well, why did you call him 6 months later? What was the status of the case at that point at 6 months? Did you talk to anybody else? Did you all interview anybody else? Did you interview any neighbors? Neither attorney have I heard asked, did he talk to anybody else? And then you're going to hear about him talking to the child. This This is what representation you have as social workers. He did right to quit that fucking job and go deliver the mail. And what I need to know now is, when did he leave this job? When the shit hit the fan that the mother was looking for and everybody started talking about the little girl? Yeah, I got a feeling that's when he left the Department of Human Services. When he got out, she was missing. Ting!
Property.
And was that before or after the defendant drove away with this young female?
I believe it was after. It was after they left. I approached the property.
After they left, he approached the property. For
You
what?
were unsuccessful in seeing Harmony Montgomery that day.
Correct.
Did you attempt to follow up with the defendant?
I did.
Tell us about those attempts.
This makes no sense to me.
That was
He says he approached the property after they left. You had an opportunity to try to stop the car. You could have pulled up to try to engage. And if he didn't want to engage and say, well, sir, I don't feel like talking, I'm busy, we'll move your car, then you say, well, I'll call you later, but I do need to talk to you. This is bullshit. So what I need to know is, why did he approach a property? To do what? To go knock on the door to see who lived there, who all lived there? This is odd to me. This is a very odd damn story. Did you go next door, knock on the neighbors? Hey, do you know this guy? Do you know his children? Do you know anything about him? That's what I would have done. I think I would have knocked on some doors. He drove off, I would have went up to him before he even got a chance to drive off, number one. After he spoke to me, I still would have said, who else lives in this house? And I still think I probably would have knocked on the door to talk to them to get an idea of what the fuck was going on in this house and why I'm here. This man is, to me, a bobblehead. And the fact that now he works for our U.S. mail system, and that's the worst joke running the U.S. mail, he probably has the same attitude and shit in delivering the damn mail. I don't know what happened to your mail. I don't know anything about it. It's crazy.
initiating a phone call and speaking with Adam and trying to arrange a home visit in which I could actually come and see and speak with Harmony.
When were those attempts? You mentioned a phone call. When was that phone call?
I think I would have to look at my notes.
I don't know, but it's still ridiculous.
Later that day,
Hola.
I spoke with Adam on the phone.
Please do, if you believe that would refresh your recollection.
Now he has to go in his notes to talk about when he made contact with him over the phone later that day. Oh my God, you can't make this stuff up. Hello, 68 viewing, thank you.
Yes, it was later that day.
Later that day, he
You
calls
also
him.
attempt to call the defendant on August 1st.
I again would have to refer to my notes.
Please do.
Now you got to go back in the notes again. Oh, man. Thank you for joining me.
I did.
Did you speak to the defendant on August 1st?
I did.
What, if anything, did he tell you about Harmony's condition?
I would have to, again, look at my notes for details.
Please do.
This is ridiculous. All this back and forth. I got to look at my notes. You got to look in your notes, and you really didn't deal with the people. You got to keep looking in your notes. You should have this memorized. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous to me. Pinto, you're horrible. Basically.
Do you recall what, if anything, the defendant told you about Harmony's condition when you spoke to him on August 1st?
The contact I just reviewed, I was speaking to him about setting up a home visit and that he had, one of his children was not feeling well and he needed to take him to be seen.
Go ahead.
So we would not be able to have.
It's very frustrating.
And it would have to be rescheduled.
I think that's why my head hurts worse.
Did he also tell you that he believed that Harmony had the same illness as his other child?
That I don't remember. I don't recall.
Okay, so every time the state's attorney says something, it's because he already has read the notes over what this man had said back when. So what I think is strange is the district attorney already knows what you've put in your report from yesteryear. But yet you're sitting here giving your information and you got to keep checking your fucking notes. But the district attorney, he's already studied his notes. He studied the case. He studied everything. Everybody he's had to talk to. You're the only one that's got to go back in the notes on a case that you didn't really have that much, interaction with the people, the child or the father. So this is why the attorney keeps mentioning things, because he's already read the notes. And I find it strange. This is a social worker. He don't remember none of this where he could just speak verbatim. This is odd, or it's a lack of care. Take your pick. So now he's got to go back in his notes now to describe what he and Adam talked about when he finally reached him on August 2nd. This is bullshit.
You think that reviewing your notes would refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Please do. And Mr. Soros, is your memory refreshed?
Yes, and Adam did say that he believed Harmony now had the same illness or condition that his other child had.
That again was on August 1st.
Yes.
So 2 days after you went out.
Correct.
2 days after he went out. So now we have him making contact with Adam 2 days later. And Adam is basically saying, well, one of the children is sick, and I believe Harmony has the same illness. So we'll have to reconvene this meetup conversation later. So as you see, you didn't make contact with him when you saw him outside getting in the car with the little girl. You could have easily pulled your car up, partially blocked them just to get out to announce yourself to see where it went. Then we hear the car drove off with Adam and the child. Then you approach the property to do what exactly? Leave a card? You call him later that day. I think there was no answer. And now you're talking to him now 2 days later. And you're holding a conversation and he's telling you the children are sick.
During your response, did you have a face-to-face with Harmony Montgomery?
Could you ask me that again? I'm sorry.
At any point during your response, did you have a face-to-face interaction with Harmony Montgomery?
My response, as far as my following up with the report,
Correct.
I did.
When was that?
I believe it was about a week later. The exact date, I don't remember.
Do you think that reviewing your report would refresh your recollection with respect to the date?
Yes.
Can you please do so?
Brief intermission. So it's visiting, phone tag later that day, call him 2 days later. He tells this man the kids are sick, have to meet with you another time, and then we go from there.
Yes, it was August 7th.
Now what?
Approximately a week later.
Now it's a week later.
What, if anything, did you observe about Harmony's physical appearance when you saw her on August 7th?
Overall, excuse me. Overall, she seemed.
So let me strike that question. Specifically, did you notice any markings or injury to her face?
I did notice a small red mark under one of her eyes and some redness with discoloration in the eye that was closest to that.
Did the defendant tell you anything regarding how that injury occurred?
He did. He said that he had bought the kids, two younger children, he bought the kids like foam swords or lightsabers, and that they were playing with them, and that Harmony was struck in the face and the eye.
Well, I think this is the commentary you're listening to from the state worker. This is possibly the follow-up from the uncle calling, because this is stated at the beginning of this commentary when he gets up to raise his right hand. What he's telling you is from the uncle calling, because we learn in this conversation between the district attorney and this social worker, former social worker. It's that he got an anonymous call, but later found out it was the uncle. Feel free to go to YouTube Q and rehear this information. So what you're hearing right now from the social worker is the follow-up from the call from the uncle. What's the problem is no more visits, no more calls, and then you contact Adam in January of 20, and we know at this time they're homeless still. They didn't get an apartment till February 20. So why is there this big 6-month gap from July, initially trying to make contact with these people, make contact, check out the girl, and then what did you put in your notes pertaining to that? Because he's telling you, oh, they had some swords or games they were playing with. She got hit in the eye by mistake. But 9 times out of 10, it's from the injury of him hitting her. So then we got to ask, how long was it between the initial call of the black eye and him showing up to the house to see the girl? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 week, a month, what? That's the point. What's the timeline from the uncle's call that she had a black eye to when he finally showed up? Because you got to remember, he's talking to him on the phone, talking to him 2 days later on the phone. Then he goes out on the 7th of August. So when did the uncle say, I saw the black eye? Because maybe the swelling and stuff's gone down by the time this guy sees the little girl.
That's how she got that mark.
So, Mr. Soros, I want to switch gears and I want to discuss January of 2020.
Yeah, she wore glasses, yes.
On January
They all wore
of
glasses.
2020, did you make contact?
The biological
with
mother and the father and Adam. They all wore
I
glasses.
believe so. I would like to review my contacts, please.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little more loudly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go back. Let him answer this one more time. Hold on.
And that Harmony was struck in the face and the eye, and that's how she got that mark.
So, Mr. Soros, I want to switch gears and I want to discuss January of 2020. On January 8th of 2020, did you make contact with the defendant?
January 8th, 2020.
I believe so. I would like to review my contacts, please.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little more loudly?
So now he's got to review his paperwork again. That's all they've done now, and I'm just 16 minutes in. Every time the district attorney asks him a question, he's got to check his notes. Didn't you review the paperwork before coming to court? That's what I find strange about this man testifying. Wouldn't you have reviewed it to where you could memorize the information? Because what is there that you got to keep checking? You didn't deal with him but a few times. I mean, not even 5 times. You went to the house, he drove off. You called him that day, from my understanding, no answer. That's 2 times. You called him again 2 days later. That's 3 times. He finally set up a time, which was the next week. That's 4 times. Your 5th time was 6 months later. How could you not remember that interaction? 5 times at least, your interaction from end of July 2019 to January 2020. Make it make sense.
Yes, ma'am.
And repeat the answer to that question.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
I do remember receiving a report then, and I don't remember the exact date.
So he received a report,
Whether I made contact or not.
and he don't remember if he made contact or not.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes.
Don't you find this interaction bizarre? I don't remember my interaction. I got to check the report. It's like this guy, maybe this is what's wrong with the cases. The people aren't invested in the caseload. So you have a person here who didn't even have enough interaction time to say, I can't really remember because I dealt with them so much and had so many interactions. I'll have to check my notes to see what I said and what he said. You dealt with somebody 50, 60 times in a couple of months. I can see you need to go get your notes just so you don't trip yourself up. But 5 times, from July 2019 to January 2020. Try again, dear.
Yeah.
In just a moment,
This is bad testifying here.
So feel free to review that and just look up your.
There's no way he could feel secure about his testimony in court. Because this is terrible.
Yes, it was January 8th, 2020.
January
How
8th.
did that communication occur?
I apologize, meaning how did I contact him?
Yes.
Phone.
You spoke to him on the phone.
Called him on the phone, January 8th, 2020.
And what, if anything, during that conversation did he say about Harmony Montgomery?
I believe it was that conversation. I would have to check my notes to make sure, because I can't remember if it was that conversation or later when meeting with him that he had told me that Harmony was now living with her biological mother.
So this is what doesn't make any sense. If you had contact with him last in July, what are you talking about here? The meeting with him that he said the little girl was living with the mother. You're skipping something between July and January. I'm confused. So did he meet with Adam again in the 6 months interval? Because you got to remember, once they got the fall, winter, they were homeless. And this is also when the girl was unalived in the car because he beat her to death. So I'm trying to understand, why are you calling him 6 months later, and what happened between the 6 months? Did you go back to that same house or any other locale trying to find him and the girlfriend, Kayla, the kids, the little girl, Harmony? Something's not right here. Because 6 months, that's just too long to go. Finally go to the house, talk to the little girl, look at her eye, walk away, and then now you're on the phone talking to him 6 months later about what exactly? I don't understand none of this. And this district attorney is not asking the right questions. Well, sir, why did it take 6 months? What happened in between July and January for you to call him? What made you call him? Were you trying to wrap up the case because you didn't have any evidence that he was abusing the child? How many more visits did you have from July to January? Did you talk to any other sources about the abuse? Did you get any more, did you get any more calls about the little girl? Did you get calls about any other children? Any other improprieties? I don't hear none of that in this testimony. This is bullshit to me. Well, Pinto, that's why I said they're talking in code in this testimony, because this guy is saying, once he got a hold of him in January, he's telling the district attorney, well, I had a meeting with him, and that's what I'm talking to him about. What meeting? You went from July, you saw the little girl, you don't tell us you went back, you don't tell us you called back, you don't tell us somebody else went to check on the little girl in the 6 months interval. You just go from July to January. This is just ridiculous.
Do you recall the specifics of what he said about how she came to be with her biological mother?
He had said that she was having visits with her mother, and again, I'd have to probably look at my notes again, but I believe due to their unstable housing situation, that Harmony ended up staying with her mom.
So during this January 8th conversation with Adam, Adam is telling him he's in between places. He, the girl, the wife, the children. So that means there's a reason why, sir, you were contacting Adam. Why? Who sent you and what was the reason? Again, at this point, they're homeless. We learned this. They were in the shelter up until February of 2020 when they found that apartment. So what is the deal? Why were you contacting Adam 6 months later, January 2020? Did you close the case out? Were you about to close the case and that's why you contacted him? Or did you get another report? Because here you did say something about a report, but it's vague in what you're saying about the report. You just said it was a report. I tried calling to reach him. But you don't say, I got another call, I got another complaint. It's vague.
Did you follow up with Crystal Sorey?
I did make an attempt. I called and I believe I left a voicemail.
So he did attempt to call the bio mother, but he left a voicemail. Well, at this time, she probably was out in the world doing her thing, still getting high on drugs or whatever she was doing. So now, why don't somebody ask him, well, how many more times did you try to reach the bio mother to see if Harmony was living with her or she had custody of her? You don't hear none of that. I'm going to say it again. 6 months between July and January, talking to Adam. I don't hear nothing in this testimony of visits in between those 6 months to the house again after talking to Harmony. You call him, you say something vaguely in his testimony about a report. This is where he tells you he doesn't have a place to live, blah, blah, blah. So you go verify with the bio mother. She don't answer. And still, this video is about to go off here in a few minutes. You do not hear how many more times he tried to call Miss Sorey to see if Harmony was in her possession. So what happened after he tried to reach Sorey? Did he call 4 more times, 2 more times? Did he close the case? What happened?
If I could have just a moment, Mr.
I don't know what the district attorney, you all didn't do a good job with interrogating him because you're supposed to ask more questions than what you've asked here. I mean, I don't understand none of this. And I'm surprised the defense didn't ask either. But the defense, they're not going to ask questions that you're supposed to be asking because they feel like, well, if they're going to leave it open-ended and vague, we're not getting ready to go into the belly of the beast and draw more out of her or draw more out of him. He don't want to tell us why, how many more times he tried to reach the bio mother, why he only reached out 2 times in 6 months. That's really favoring us. That it couldn't have been a big issue with abuse because you didn't keep going back or you didn't close the case. Just saying. So how many visits do they need to take to close the case? I'm curious. Happy says, apparently he did nothing in my opinion. The judge who gave custody of Harmony to Adam has a lot to answer for. Well, good luck with that. Because nobody's gonna stand in the gap and admit what they've done and didn't do. They never do. This is the defense now for Mr. Adam, I guess.
A report came in on July 29th of 2019 regarding Harmony, correct? Correct. And specifically, it was that Adam had caused a black eye. That was in the report. Someone referred, whomever it was that made the report referred to it as a shiner, which I interpret as a black eye. And the report was made anonymously, but you knew the person to be Kevin Montgomery.
There you have it.
I did learn that later on. So that day,
So how far later on did he realize Kevin Montgomery, the uncle of Adam, is the one that made the anonymous call? Okay? Because first the call is anonymous. You hear this attorney now saying, you later find out? He says yes. What is the timeline in finding out who actually made the call? That it was the uncle. When did he find out it was the uncle that made the call?
To the residence, the 29th. Yes. But it was a very fleeting encounter. Adam and Harmony were getting in a vehicle as you were arriving.
Agent.
Correct. So you observed Harmony for all of
You a
10
mess, Agent.
seconds, right? Thereabouts, yeah. 30, 40 feet away. Mm-hmm. You were in your car still at the time. Yes. But you did have a longer visit,
approximately a week later, correct?
Yes.
That was August 7th.
Yes,
You went inside the residence,
I did.
and it sounds like you spoke with Adam, but you also spoke with Harmony.
Wow.
I did.
I didn't know that.
Your
The judge quit.
Your preferred practice is to try and meet with the kid alone, correct?
Correct.
That doesn't always happen.
Correct.
Sometimes there is a parent there,
Sometimes there's a parent there,
or in the next room.
or in the next room.
And you don't have any specific recollection regarding whether anybody was present when you spoke with Harmony.
I don't recall that.
See, more aloofness, vague commentary from the social worker. You're now talking with Harmony in the house, and you can't remember if Boo Boo the Clown, the Rain Man, or Santa Claus was in the room while you're talking to her. This is bizarre to me. Because when you go into a situation such as child abuse, you should be speaking to the child in another room. That way they don't feel intimidated by the person who's doing the abusing. You never sit the abuser in the room with the child. Everybody knows this. You ask the parent, guardian, to step out while you talk to the child, or you take the child outside. Let's say it's warm outside. Well, let's go outside and sit on the front porch, the stoop, whatever, let me talk to you. That way the child won't feel threatened. They can still feel threatened depending on the abuse and the level of abuse by the person that's doing it. This fucker here is sitting here saying he don't even remember who was in the room. If the daddy was on the roof or making eggs in the kitchen. I am almost done with this video. 21 minutes in, 24 minutes of testimony, and this is all you got right here. From the district attorney and now the defense. And nobody's asking the pertinent questions. Why is this time gap going on from July to January? How many times did you try to reach the biological mother? Once, twice, 3 times? What? What is the protocol to keep trying to reach her? Or the father, or whomever? Did you close this case or not? How about that? What does it take to close the case? How many visits between all parties? Verifications for all parties. Interviewing neighbors, friends, people in the schoolhouse. See, that's what people want to hear. You're not getting any of this.
But you were able to visually see Harmony, right?
Yes.
And you noticed a little bit of red in her right eye.
I can't remember if it was a right or left eye, but it was one of the eyes.
One eye. There was some redness.
So you don't remember the eye that was red. And I surely didn't hear you say, let me check my notes. Because you had to check your notes for 20-something minutes of fucking talking. And then the uncle gets up here and testify. He act like he high on heroin too during this testimony. He don't remember which eye that was blacked. You made the call. But you don't remember which eye. So here he is sitting up on the witness stand doing this, trying to decide which position he was in at the time to remember her eye, which eye was black. Well, she ain't got but 2 eyes, so how hard can it be to remember? Now we got a fucking social worker. He don't remember which eye it was. And you didn't put it in your notes when you went to see the little girl that the eye had a scratch. And the father told you, oh, the kids were playing, that's how she got it. They hit her by mistake. Did you check the other children out? Did you check the house out, sir? Did you go in all the rooms to see that the child had a bed, a whole room? And the reason why I don't believe the child had a whole room is because there were too many fucking people living there. In my understanding, they moved in with other people living there. There's a lot of people living there. So where was her room? Now you have Kayla testifying, showing the room that the little girl lived in, which was empty, of course. And I'm assuming she shared it with the grandmother. I don't know. But all this is strange. And I still haven't learned why the mortgage wasn't paid on the house. All these grown-ass people living in there, a bunch of probably meth heads and heroin heads, base heads, living in the house. Ain't nobody helping the grandmama pay nothing and giving her no money. They probably wasn't paying nothing. Probably didn't have water on. Next thing you know, here you go, oh, well, we had to go because the mortgage wasn't paid. But you were working. So did you give the woman any money, Kayla? See, all the questions that you don't get no answers to.
Yes.
Faded bruising as well?
Yeah, I refer to it as like a faint red mark and then some redness in the eye.
So her eyes red
She had
inside.
glasses, right?
She did.
She agreed to remove them, right?
Yes.
So that you could look at her.
Yes.
And there's a standard set of questions you ask under these circumstances, right?
I do.
So again, without indicating what the answer was, you would obviously ask her what had happened,
Yes.
and other questions regarding her general safety.
Yes.
So if you talk to Harmony, you can't remember which eye was red, can't remember which mark was where. She only got the 2 eyes. You can't remember who was in the room with you. Can't remember where the father was. Do you even know who you are, social worker? That's what I'm trying to understand. You gave your government name at the beginning of this testimony. Do you really know who the hell you are? Because this was the worst information given to a district attorney in court. It's as if everybody took a snort of something before walking into this courthouse. Because the district attorney's not asking the right questions. You don't leave no gaps in testimonies. You don't let somebody say, I gotta check my notes. Oh, I didn't go back and talk to Adam for 6 months. Why don't you say why not? What took so long? Why you call him? What happened? Did somebody file a report? Did you get some more complaints? I don't hear that. And this is a 24-minute video of his testimony to social worker. This is ridiculous to me. Say, well, if that man wore a wedding ring, the red could be a mark from that. I don't know, honey. I don't know. Hello, Sue. But I know this social worker don't know nothing. Can't remember which eye, can't remember who was in the room. If the father was on top of the roof or sitting in the lawn chair, he don't remember nothing. He got to check his notes every time the district attorney asks a question. There's something off here.
Aside from the redness in her eye and the faded bruising,
Probably happy. Let the eye heal. They probably were putting ice on it and all that.
anything else concerning regarding Harmony's person or well-being?
I did not.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
What did Harmony say to this social worker when he asked, how are you feeling? Do you feel safe here? Do you like it here? Are you getting along with the father? Are you getting along with the children? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to leave here? Did he ask the child, did she want to leave? Did he ask the child, was she happy? I don't hear none of that in this testimony. Sir, what did you ask the little girl? Okay, you looked at her eye. Did you look at her arms, her back, her legs? Naturally, it wouldn't be appropriate for him to pull her clothes down to look at her private parts or backside or anything. But I think you should have said, well, we need to take her to the doctor, just get her physical, make sure everything's okay. I don't hear none of that mentioned. I don't hear shit you're supposed to ask. I'm not even a reporter. I'm just a YouTuber. And I got enough sense to sit here and say, I don't hear none of the pertinent questions that a normal person would ask when a person is supposed to be going to a house to see about a child. Oh, Barbara, never. I don't like doing all that reading. I don't like doing the reading just for the videos. I definitely could have been a lawyer or a law clerk or whatever you call it.
Just one question for you, Mr.
No,
Sparks.
thank you.
So, if I understand correctly, you're not sure when you spoke with Harmony, if her father was in the room, in another room, or somewhere else.
Correct. I don't recall that.
Thank you.
That's the district attorney saying you don't
You may
recall.
sit down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may this witness be excused?
Any objections? All right, this witness may be excused. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, things moved a little more quickly than the parties anticipated today. So we are going to end a little bit earlier today. It's our hope that we're going to go through with a full day tomorrow. So plan accordingly. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of nice weather this afternoon, so you'll get a little additional time. But I'll have you come back at 8:45 tomorrow with the hope that we will get started on time at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, so please be back at 8:45 tomorrow. Once again, don't discuss the case, not with anybody.
Wish I was smarter in other
Not
areas.
with each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research. Don't drive by the locations. You know, if you happen to drive anywhere along the route we were in the other day, yesterday, don't pay any additional attention that you wouldn't ordinarily pay if you were just on your direct route home, okay? Once again, I do anticipate that there is media regarding this case. So turn off all the notifications on your phone. Don't look at the newspaper or the local news, please. Maybe focus on international news if that's what you want to do, but please make sure that you are avoiding any newspaper, online, or other media coverage of this case as we continue the trial. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you tomorrow morning.
All right, will you?
Okay, they adjourned. This is 5 days ago. I'm late on the commentary because I did not follow the story. I never talked about this story on my network. I just brought you this information because I was up late. I was listening to Kayla's testimony last night or this morning, put me to sleep. And that's usually what I do. I listen to true crime to put me to sleep, which is really not a good thing. Feel free to go check out this content. It's in the YouTube queues, also on my community page. I'm not going to hold you because I have to keep breaking in between their questions and commentary. I brought you commentary from the bio mother, her testimony today. I played you just a few minutes of Kayla describing the death of the child. Didn't finish that because I was already 3 hours in. May get to that maybe tomorrow. But the situation is grim, naturally, because the child's been unalive. We get this information from Kayla. But this interaction with the social worker is very bizarre to me because I'm trying to understand the timeline of the 6 months. What was going on in the 6 months? Were you regularly visiting these people, talking to them, calling them, the mother, the bio mother, other people? I didn't hear that. And I didn't hear the district attorney ask verbatim. What happened in the 6 months interval, sir? Did you ever go look for them, knock on the door, realize nobody lives at the house anymore, reach out through Facebook, this and that, phone numbers, phone on, phone off? I don't hear anything. The district attorney never asked any of those questions to the social worker, nor did the defense. Why not? Was the case closed in January of 2020? And it really didn't jump off until the mother kept calling everybody and their mama to say, my kid's missing. I haven't seen her. I've got rights to see her. This is a case, as I said earlier in my live stream, that could have been avoided. You're welcome, sweetheart. This case could have been avoided like many of the true crime cases pertaining to missing children, abused children. Had somebody listened and paid attention, she'd still be alive today. Maybe not with her mother, maybe not with Adam, but she'd be alive somewhere in a foster home, maybe even adopted, I don't know. But this could have been avoided. And the child was miserably failed because she didn't have the right parents. And that's not her fault. She didn't choose to be here. She came in the world just like we all came here, and she didn't choose Crystal. She didn't choose Adam. You didn't choose your mother and father. You deal the hand that's been given to you. And that's all she could do. She was just 5. So here we have this dire situation, shuffling a child around like a rag doll, a father who was violent, who had no business having custody of her, a mother who couldn't stay straight. She was destined for this drama because how she started. And that's the thing. There are no guarantees once you get here. You are here. You've got to navigate. What could a 5-year-old do? Nothing. She couldn't go to work. She couldn't drive a car. She couldn't get a job. She's 5. So somebody has to navigate on her behalf. She didn't have the right people. She's not the first. She won't be the last, sadly. The scary part is her remains are out here somewhere, and only one person knows allegedly where she can be found. And he's never going to tell it because he's going to do like most killers do. I'm going to hold out because that's the key to me either dying in here or possibly getting out of prison. He knows that. That's why he's never going to tell it. And he's turned on Kayla. So he has shown that he's never cared for her, his children, nobody, not even himself. And she has rode this donkey ride to the end, and he's shown her, I ain't never loved you because I ain't never loved myself. I don't love my kids. And you can't even say you love your kids if you're threatening their mother when you're the one that took the life of the little girl. You just stupidly killed her in front of the eyewitnesses. He doesn't care. And luckily those children were small. There were eyewitnesses in the car that maybe they don't even have a memory of what happened to Harmony Montgomery. Okay? Right. But that's her biological father. That's only right that he would have rights to her. You can't undo custody. He had a right to the child because that was his child. But the problem is, when did he start abusing her? I think early on. That's possibly why the mother didn't get to see her after April of 2019, because he possibly had been abusing her and he didn't want that little girl saying anything out of the way to alert the mother. But then the mother wasn't in no state to get her back either, because the mother has been battling these issues for years. So I'd like to know, when did the mother become fully sober? No halfway houses, no shelters, no nothing. Strictly sober, job, place to live, whichsoever. That girl will be 10 years old this June. So I don't know how long the mother was sober and got herself together. But the point is, it's not fair to shuffle the little girl around until you get it together. The bio mother had two terms with her. So in the end, one could say, okay, I'm gonna let you have visitation rights. I'm gonna let you see her, but you can't keep her alone. But possibly she did not deserve no rights to Harmony either, okay? Because at this point, you're playing Russian roulette with a kid. You're rolling dice with a child's life. 3 months into her being born, she's in the state's care. 2 years later, you get her back. You still weren't really secure then. She was barely living then when she got Harmony and had that other baby. Then she's out her care again. Now, the daddy got her February of 2019. So you see, Harmony didn't have a chance. She's going from place to place to place to place. And the judge should not have given her to the father because he has a violent background. So I'm trying to understand that. And I understand everybody deserves to change if you want to change. You deserve a chance if you've changed or you've shown that you're making efforts. He, in my opinion, hadn't done anything worthy of getting custody of a child. Now, the fact that Kayla wanted to lay up and have all them damn babies by him, that was on Kayla. But Harmony shouldn't have been in his peripheral. And I wouldn't kept going round and around with the bio mother either. Crystal wasn't in no shape to take care of Harmony. She did 2 rounds already, and she couldn't even get that right. In a 2-year interval of the little girl being, last seeing her in 2019, which means she would have been what? Getting ready to turn 5. You couldn't get it right in 4 years. That's a lot. That's a lot. So it would have been cruel to give her back to her mother round 3. She's not a doll. She's not a toy. And if you couldn't get it right after the first time you lost custody, and you got her back in 2016, you still couldn't get it right for Adam to get her, you didn't deserve her. And that's my personal opinion. And it's obvious Adam did not deserve her either. It's a damn situation. Where were the other family members that could have stepped up to take in the child? I do not know. But as I've told you so many times dealing with children cases, the state does not always necessarily give the child to other distant relatives. It is their choice if they, 1, can find somebody. 2, somebody volunteers. 3, they do the background check. But at this point in the interval and knowing this story, nobody else could be no worse than Adam. He's like shooting people, stabbing people, hurting people, robbing people, or whatever he's done. So we couldn't judge nobody else if they had a criminal background and wanted the little girl. This is a desperate, just a disturbing case. Oh, thank you, Miss My gently used headboard. Thank you. But nonetheless, she's gone, unalived by her own father. People tried to call, different people called, but the police is who should have been called, because she would have been saved that first night the uncle saw the black eye, or the day he saw the black eye. He should have left out of there, called 911, told them the child's in the house. They would not have been expecting the police. And then the police would have went in, saw Harmony's eye, and removed her right then. And that would have been the end of that. There would have been no more shuffling of Harmony Montgomery. I don't think he would have got visitation rights, and he would have never got the chance to get custody of her. And at that point, going to court, if he wanted to go to court, I do believe his violent past would have surfaced up from the earth, and somebody would have finally acknowledged, well, what the hell was he doing with her in the first place? And he has all these crimes under his belt. He's been to penitentiary. He's been to jail. He's stalked young ladies. All that should have came out as it should have came out when custody was rendered to him in the first place. So we have all of these crazy, crazy cases. Hippie, I think he will be found guilty. He'll get that time on top of the 30 years for the previous charge that he's in jail for now. Kayla will eventually do her time. She'll get out and walk the earth, and we'll see what she does with her life. And as I said, she and the bio mother are still in childbearing years. They could bear some children still. And all I can say is have mercy on both of the women. Whoever they date, get tangled up with, married, whatever, that's on them. Harmony's out of the way, and that's all that matters. And if the other children have been adopted out, I pray for their safety. They're in safe hands with decent people. That's all you can wish for and hope for. That's my commentary. But the fact that he didn't go to court is because he does not want to face these people in court. Kayla, people testifying. He knows he killed the kid. He knows what he did was wrong, and he can't take it back. So now he wants to throw, stones at Kayla. I fought her because she was there, and she could have turned him in. Because you see what he's done to her in the end. This blind trust and love she's had for him, this sickness, illness, she's now in jail because of that, the fraud, all that food stamp fraud. He doesn't give a damn about her. He never did, because he doesn't care about himself. He never cared about the kids. He never cared about her. He's now turned on her. He knows, I got a witness. I got somebody who was there with me. I'm going to say she did it. That's what he was doing to the bio mother, basically, when he was saying, oh, she's in her custody. I don't know. I dropped her off with her. He knew the baby was dead because he killed the baby. And he still threw the bio mother under the bus so they could come looking at her crazy. This is how wicked he is. You understand what I'm saying? This is how wicked he is. He doesn't care for anybody. He's that type of guy. I'll kill you, stab you, rob you, shoot you, unalive you, threaten you for somebody else to do the job, which he did with Kayla, and yet she still stayed. You have to know when to fold and leave sick people alone. I know I have to speak from experience. You have to say, this person doesn't mean me any good. They don't have my best interest at heart. It doesn't matter if today they're nice, tomorrow they're mean to me. I've got to weigh on the heavy side. They don't show me the respect that I deserve. I don't need to be in their company. And it's hard. And I've been harsh judging people myself. Like, why would you do that? Why would you deal with them? And then I've dealt with it myself with somebody and saying to myself, well, why am I dealing with this person when they're ignorant? They have bad behavior. You have to own your part. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to own your part in dealing with people. You see they don't mean you any good, cut them loose. You see they're not treating your children well, cut them loose. See, this is what messed everybody up. Getting knocked up, not using protection, using narcotics, children gone, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Still don't have your life together when you get the kids back. This man is violent. He's a user. He lays down with Kayla. She's a user. It's just been one thing after the other in dealing with these people. They all are users. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, Lord. They all were users. This is what I mentioned in the last live stream. Don't you find it interesting that they all use narcotics? What are the odds? Harmony's mother was a user. The father's a user. He gets with Kayla. They get put out, evicted. They start using. Who is thinking about getting high on drugs, homeless in a car in the dead of winter? Or the start of winter, rather. It's cold in New Hampshire. You're sleeping in a car. You sold your food stamps to the dope dealer, and the only thing you can think about is getting fucking high. Don says, Kayla is another kind of evil, in my opinion. She didn't care for Harmony. She wanted him abusing her, and it kept the focus of her and her kids. Well, hey, hippie, thank you. Yeah, I know they keep coming into the chat. That's why I say from now on I might have to go live without letting you all comment, because I don't have time to keep, trying to erase the videos. I mean, you imagine if I was going live and I had 1,000 people in the room, there's no way I could give my commentary and keep trying to, knock the people out of the chat. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is probably why they were in the car, sad for the kid. What do you mean, Selena? Well, my understanding is that nobody paid the mortgage, but I don't know what happened. But I was thinking that when I first heard Kayla start talking about all those people living in the same house, first thing I thought was, well, who's actually contributing? Because you've seen these stories before, thousands of people living in one house and ain't but one person paying bills. And what's crazy is she was using, she was working. So did she contribute to the household? Because even if Kayla gave money, it wouldn't be enough for 5, 6 people plus children living in a house. You got water, lights, gas, the mortgage, toiletries, toilet paper, detergent. That's a lot of people using all that. Use all on drugs. Yes, possibly so. And another thing, I won't doubt that most of the people that stayed in that house, they all use drugs. Don't know if the grandmother got down. You do have older people that get high too. But the point is, you letting all these people live in your house. They're not giving you any money. They're using drugs, possibly alcoholics. Because even the uncle testifying, he seemed like he was out of sorts at this trial. And the first thing I thought, is he a user? Is he currently using? Because he didn't seem right in his testimony. He couldn't answer the questions properly, which was awfully strange. And the DA will grill you before putting you on the witness stand. Defense attorneys grill their clients, grill their witnesses. The DA grills their witnesses to try to get you to understand what to look forward to. And yet this guy goes up here and he's acting like he's not even one of the star witnesses to bring the information of the abuse. And I thought, what the hell is going on? You've got this uncle, he's talking like he's high as a kite. The social worker, he's coming on here, he's got to check his notes, and he's only talked and met with this guy not even 5 times in 6 months. This is why Harmony is not alive. Just what you saw play out in court is why she's gone. This case is no different than Summer Wells, the West case, Camille McKinney, so many other cases. The children's situations are eerily similar because they were in the wrong hands in the first place, which got them put to another location that didn't fare any better than where they came from. Eating baby food because she was giving her dealer. Yes, I read that today. Yes, I saw that today. So you see, this is what's expected in cases of child abuse, neglect, drug addict parents. What you have seen here unfold in the courtroom, documentations, lying, covering, coveting by a crazy female, Kayla, Crystal out using drugs. This is the end result. And just listening to Kayla testify was heart-wrenching this morning for me. Because the first thing I said, when I opened the video late morning, last night or whatever, I was in the bed in the dark, like I was when I started this live. Sorry, I was in the dark. Forgive me. But I was, stretched out. And I said, I'm going to listen to this and just, doze off. I couldn't even doze off. I literally had to get up and stir about. I had to end up showering because I felt like, oh, I'm awake now listening to this nonsense. Poured me a little drink and continued to listen to this BS. And I was super stunned. Quiet night, nothing chirping, nothing stirring. And I was able to soak that information in because naturally when it's quiet, it's dark, you can soak in the information better. I was mortified at what I was listening to. That story she spun about being in that car was devastating. Devastating to the spirit. Devastating to know the children endured that. Devastating that babies were in there sitting beside a child being punched. This woman not doing enough. Not saying, hey, stop it. You're going to hurt her. You're going to kill her. Just stop. We got kids in the car. You're driving. You're going to wreck. See, there was no regard for anybody in the car. They didn't regard themselves. Kayla didn't regard her children. Because let's be truthful, while he was punching Harmony, he could have wrecked the car. He's reaching over the seat to punch a kid while the car's in motion. So they were endangering the lives of themselves, also the pedestrians and other people on the road. No regard. Because they were users, they didn't care about the outside world. You're selling your food stamps. You lose either way, even if you're not on drugs and you're selling your food stamps. You got to eat. And then they played this role like they were happy people going to get an apartment. But yet, he's worried about it. She's telling on him. This is so disturbing. And carrying her around. That's what really got me. Not just beating the child in front of eyewitnesses, sleeping in the car, homeless, cold, but you're carrying a deceased corpse around from place to place. I literally had to do this while listening to the story. Because I do this a lot. Count on my fingers. I was going, wait a minute. Huh? Damn. Car. To another car. To the mother's house. To the mother's hallway. Okay? To the shelter. That's 5. 6. To his job. Freezer. 7. Back to the new apartment. 8. That baby was carried around from place to place to place, rotting, smelling, leaking fluid, and nobody saw it. How is that possible? Snowbank, that's really about 9. The guy could have went in his trunk. Damn, this bag's awfully heavy. What's in here? The fact he folded her up. Kayla tells us this. That was disturbing to me. What the hell you mean, folded her up? Folded her up and put her in a bag with your clothes. Now, I'm not here to say their clothes were clean, not clean, but it's principle. You fold up a 5-year-old and put her inside of your duffel bag? And then you also, naturally, she's going to stay that way because rigor mortis is going to set in, so she ain't going to be able to bend no other way unless you're breaking bones. So now you're putting her into another CMC bag, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, and naturally that bag would have been probably smaller than the duffel bag. Then we're talking about taking the bag, going into a cooler. It was just one thing after the other, and it was hard to even sit here and listen to this girl describe all these different things, places the baby was in, and ain't nobody noticed and discovered her. I told myself this morning, I said, this ain't even real, what I'm listening to. This is like a really bad TV movie. You've seen movies like this that are fiction, that somebody should be noticing a dead person or notice somebody's a killer or peculiar, and everybody's just standing around. Oh no, he's a great guy. He's really nice. Yeah. Yeah, well, Hazel, my understanding, she was folded up in the duffel bag or one of the other bags. Because you got to remember, he had to put her in the bag. You should have known that bag was already full, I thought, with clothes in it. You wouldn't want her visible in the duffel bag. Oh, Lord. Say what? No way they planned this. Well, they did, though. They did. Because every time they took her and moved her somewhere, it's premeditation. You kept punching her from the beginning. You had to have known something bad was going to happen. You keep punching a baby. What did you think was going to happen to her? She was 5 years old. You're punching her. And that's another thing I just thought about. Harmony wore glasses. Is everybody listening to me? She wore glasses in July when she got punched. So was she wearing glasses in July? Because if I hit you with glasses, there's a chance your glasses are going to be broke. They'll get in the eye. Nobody's even talked about that. Swinging her around, beating her up, what the uncle said. When he said, I asked him, what did he do to her? And he said he was banging her around the apartment. Just imagine somebody throwing a 5-year-old around. Now I'm supposed to believe she was wearing her glasses while getting beat up because she put her hands over the baby's mouth? Hell no. She probably didn't even have glasses. They probably been broke. Number one. Time of death. Doubt she had glasses on. Because if he was beating her up in the summer, I would assume her glasses would have been on her. They would have gotten broken. Number two, if she had on glasses, they were probably half and half, or she didn't have them on at the time of death. If she had them on, they definitely broke when he was punching her in the backseat of that car. And I've heard nobody mention that. Did you find glasses with the victim? I mean, any remnants of broken glass in the trunk or the duffel bags or anything? I haven't heard anything about her glasses. Where are her glasses? Because I think they've been broke. They probably were way broke before fall of 2019. While the baby was passing, they were wolfing down Whopper Juniors. And that's scary too. That was mentioned in the last chat. You all are eating food while this child is in the backseat covered under the cover. That was an opportunity then for Kayla to get out and go to safety. She could have said, Adam, I got to take the kids into the bathroom because we need to use the bathroom while we have one accessible. Make sure the kids might need to make a bowel movement, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Okay? Let me take the kids into the restroom. When she got out, because I don't know if he would have let her out, but I would have told him, it doesn't matter, honey. Losing my train of thought for the stupidness, foolishness in the chat. She should have tried to get out of the car and told him, I got to take the kids to the restroom. They need the restroom. I need brush their teeth. Just make up something. And then she should have went inside and notified the police from inside. And then the police come, she hide in the back, and that be the end of that. Well, Hazel, that's the whole reason why she's not alive. It's because she was using the restroom on herself. And more than likely, it probably was from fear that she had been using the restroom on herself anyway. You've been abusing the child. So it doesn't stun me that she was using the restroom on herself. That is expected anyway. You're in a car. You don't have access to a toilet. She's not wearing a diaper. So she probably would use it on herself because she feared her father. And instead of her just saying, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Hey, daddy, I got to pee. I got to do number 2. She probably was afraid of him to even say anything. So she just used it on herself. Yeah, she had a lot of opportunities. Because people hurt each other every day, Mary. Yeah. And I think Kayla was popping. She's crying for self-pity, not caring. Because I don't really think we can say she cares for anybody. Because she stood on this donkey ride, rode this ride too long when she should have bailed out. Because she should have thought about, Lord have mercy. They find this baby. I've been with him this whole time with these kids. They're going to think I did something to the kid, or I'll go down with him. I don't want to be involved in this. Whether I care for him or not, I'm out of here. She never did that. She only told, the truth when she got arrested. Well, happy hippie, this is what people do. They don't care about anything. I'm going to check out of here, but I thank you all for listening to the content. This is live number 2, and I want to just play that content from the social worker speaking because his information is baffling to me. There seems to be no empathy in his conversation. There doesn't seem to be any sorrow. He's now a postal worker. And what I'm looking at, if you have the attitude you have in this testimony, if you walk the same walk like you talked in this courtroom, I don't even want you delivering my damn mail. And that's how I feel. Because he was too bland in testimony. District attorney and the defense didn't ask the right questions pertaining to the timeline from July to January. And he didn't seem like he could even remember how many times he talked to Adam, follow-up visits with the mother. Everything is, I have to check my notes. I got to check my notes. It's just bullshit. And it's ridiculous. Hazel, the mod shit don't work out. It causes too many problems with the mods, too much backbiting and drama. And I rarely kept enough people in the chat in the past year, so I never needed any mods because I rarely got any views, from my content. So I didn't really need any mods. What I'll probably do is go back to either uploading the content and you just comment under the video, or I go live and you can't comment in the chat because this is old to me. He is a liar. Who's a liar? Thank you, Don. I'm going to check out of here. Thank you all so much for following this network. Please check out my last live stream from earlier pertaining to this case. It's about 3 hours long. It's winded. Just chop it up when you can. Take the polls on my community page pertaining to this information. And before I check out of here, I'm going to go ahead, hold on, and read you the polls. So you all can get that information before bedtime. Hold on, get my computer. Gonna read you the results right quick. Welcome to the Vote Excel, everybody. Okay, everybody, hold on. And prayers for Kansas City. There was a shooting at a rally for the Super Bowl winners, Kansas City Chiefs. One person is deceased. I'll put an update on my community page pertaining to the drama unfolding out there, Kansas City. Several people have been shot. If you're not following the content, thank you for joining me. Hold on, everybody. We're going to go to my community page. And I'm going to read you the polls that I put up before I did this second live. Once again, shooting out in Kansas City, one person deceased, others shot. So it says Children's Hospital update on kids treated in KC Chiefs parade shooting. I can't play it because I don't know the sound of that, how that sound's going to come out. So for some reason on the, I can't get the sound is kind of low on this computer for some weird reason, but anyway. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me. Hold on. Hold on. Gotta swivel around. Okay, here we go. Were Kayla's tears genuine in court? Remorse for harmony, 5%. Pity for self, 70%. A and B, 5%. No remorse for harmony, 15%. Not sure, 5%. Did DHS do enough in Harmony Montgomery's case? 0% yes, 100% no. Not sure, 0. Should Kayla be incarcerated for a longer sentence? 88% yes, 2% no. Right sentence that she received, 2%. Not sure, 0%. Life in prison, 7%. Let's see, I got one person that commented. Let's see, what do they have to say? Well, she only ratted to save herself. This is from Mama, 5717. When Adam went to work, she could have told her mom to go look in cooler. Cops would have arrested him then. She could have spilled the beans and her kids would have been free of Adam. She laid down and had another baby with him after what happened. So that's Mommy 5717's commentary pertaining to that. Say what? The description's in the video. Please stop disrupting the video, everybody. Just stop it now. Enough's enough. She could have went in the methadone clinic and grabbed a cop. Yeah, she could have done a lot. All right, next question. So most of you believe she should get a longer sentence. Well, let's see. Would Kayla have told police about Adam unaliving Harmony if she had not gotten arrested? 0% yes, 100% no. Does Harmony's mom regret using drugs and not being able to take care of her? 63% says yes, 20% no, 17% not sure. Is Kayla Montgomery remorseful for the murder of Harmony? 11% yes, 73% no, 16% not sure. Yeah, I have to be rude because this is my chat and people are disrupting the chat. This story is about a deceased child. What sense does it make to come into a chat, cracking jokes and putting stupid stuff in the chat? This is a serious chat. Those are the questions I have so far, everybody, pertaining to this case. Feel free to take the polls if you like and be heard. I'm going to check out of here. Oh, you telling me to be rude? Oh, well, I think I misunderstood your comment. So, anyway, I'm going to leave. You all have a wonderful weekend. I'm out of here. I'm getting ready to enjoy the rest of my evening, find something good to watch. Movie of the week, The Girl Who Got Away, free on YouTube and the Roku channel. Please watch it. It's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful mystery. Highly recommend it. Grace Point, 10-part series, remake of Broadchurch, a British TV series. Thank you all so much for following this network. She is who she is. I love this channel. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Well, my thing is, it is disrupting the flow. And what's going to be bad is I start going live and you all can't comment because of all this infiltration of trolls and keeping all this nonsense going. I can't keep my content flowing properly by keep going in trying to erase comments. I don't have time for that. So it may be uploads. If live, you won't be able to talk. You will not be able to comment during the live stream. Yeah, I will work out. I sure will. I'm working out now, can't you see? Okay, thank you, honey. So I just want to let you know that I may go live. You won't be able to comment because of what's going on right here. Just the back and forth, just stupidity. People who don't have a life. And what you need to remember, the same type of people that are coming here trolling with the stupid comments, they're the same type of people that unalive that baby. That's what you have to tell yourself. Same type of ignorance, same type of narcissism, same type of monster. Because this is a serious situation. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App, stickers and chats always welcome during the live stream. Well, Tracy, I don't have time. If people start coming in the chat, hundreds of people listening to the live stream, I don't have time to block you. I can't block rows and rows of comments if there are a lot of people in the chat talking and I'm trying to give commentary, you're listening to audio. I don't have that kind of time. Right now, if there were 300 or 400 people in here, there's no way I would be able to keep blocking and talk and give my commentary. God forbid you have people on the panel or let somebody come in and call and talk. I don't have that kind of time. Well, YouTube didn't put you here. You brought yourself here. You all have a wonderful week. We will talk later. I just got a notification, something about the mother of, it says Kayla broke down in court. I'm going to go check that out, and then we'll discuss it at a later date. But I also want to come back and talk about the girl in the sofa, the 36-year-old woman that was found decaying in a sofa in Louisiana. I want to talk about the same thing with this case. Who knew that something was up? Who knew that girl was in that house and didn't tell anybody? Or nobody knew. People thought maybe she was sent out somewhere. What's the 411 on that case? Because that is very disturbing. And that case had me just sick yesterday. Just had me sick. So the first case I followed, really upset, horrific. Love you, Queen. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, the case of the woman in the sofa is very diabolical. Because it's hard to believe, just like what you're seeing here, this woman sat in that car and watched this man unalive his own child. That case in Louisiana, to me, is no different. Who could sit in a house with their child decaying and not render her aid, not put a diaper on her, not feed her, not take her to the hospital, not get her a feeding tube if she needed it, not put her in a care facility for the disabled? It's the same thing. It's neglect. You've been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Check the community board for updates, movies, polls, and prayers for Kansas City. There has been a shooting out there at a rally. I don't know what's going on, but one person is deceased right now. See y'all later. Bye-bye.